Joining me right now is Louisiana Congressman, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. And Congressman, it is great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to kick it off with this FBI fallout over General Michael Flynn. A federal judge could sign off on the Justice Department's decision to drop the case against the former National Security Advisor as soon as today. That is what Sidney Powell is expecting us. And she told me that yesterday as this new spotlight is being put on former President Barack Obama and how much he knew. Let me just ask you what you think about this, Congressman, because I have this timeline here. On January 4th, the FBI decides that they're going to close the case on General Flynn. On January 5th, there's a meeting in Obama's Oval Office. And in that meeting, you've got Sally Yates there, you've got James Clapper there, you've got Comey there, and this is where they discuss the Logan Act. The next day, Comey briefs Trump on the salacious parts of the dossier. I remember the day to a T because the markets were nervous. Everybody was nervous. We all wondered what the heck was in this so-called dossier. And here is Sidney Powell from Sunday Morning Futures yesterday. The FBI issued a warning. So what's your take on this, Congressman?
Well, Maria, first, it's great to be with you. And, this is disgusting. It's something that we've been exposing and fighting to get the truth out for a long time. We're talking years to try to get the facts out on this. The FBI and some of the holdovers in the Justice Department were trying to hide this from getting out. Adam Schiff was trying to mislead people about what was going on here. But this was a setup by some real dirty cops within the FBI and the Justice Department. And how high does it go? There are very serious questions being raised about whether it goes all the way to the top. And did Barack Obama and did Vice President at the time, Joe Biden, know about this and encourage it to happen, let alone let it happen? Because, as you pointed out, the FBI had previously made a decision not to go forward with a prosecution of General Flynn because he didn't do anything wrong. And instead, a few of the dirty cops wanted to set him up because they ultimately wanted to take down Donald Trump, even after he was duly elected president of the United States, with nothing behind it. There was no evidence except the Russian disinformation that came from the Steele dossier, which was fueled by Democratic Party operatives tied to Hillary Clinton's campaign. This is disgraceful.
Yeah. I mean, the Wall Street Journal this morning in their editorial is asking the question, we wonder what Barack Obama is worried about. Given the fact that now the president is weighing in saying that the rule of law is at risk because of this exoneration of General Flynn. He was also upset that there was an investigation perhaps taking place into Biden and his relationships in Ukraine. He said that that's going to create too much disinformation. I mean, I found that incredibly rich that President Obama is talking about disinformation when the whole thing to take down Trump was based on disinformation from the dossier. And that was his team, his intelligence agencies, the FBI and the CIA.
The Russian disinformation. Yeah, the Russian attempts to interfere in our elections in 2016 happened on Barack Obama and Joe Biden's watch. That's when we know Russia tried to interfere with the election, but it was Barack Obama and Joe Biden who were in charge at the time. And now, of course, all this comes out. It raises very serious questions, Maria. And the people that we already know were dirty cops really need to be held accountable, and people need to go to jail.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so extraordinary to me that this entire thing was a coup to take down then candidate Trump and then President Trump. And you just wonder how much was orchestrated by President Obama. Do you think we're going to find out?
I think we are. The Durham investigation that's been going on is a criminal investigation. It shifted over that way a long time ago. I want to see that expedited because there's so much public information already out there, let alone what's known through other hearings. This stuff is the kind of thing that you need to go to trial to start. By the way, there are a lot of other people, I think, lower level folks that were part of this that will talk. And, there are a lot of members of the whether it's Justice, FBI, some of them have been let go and disgraced already, but some of them may still be there trying to interfere in this 2020 election. That's why justice can't be delayed. Justice has to be carried out swiftly. And then let's have these people start talking under oath and find out just how high up it goes.
All right. Well, we're waiting for the criminal the criminal investigation by John Durham to be completed by the summertime. We'll see about that. I want to get your take on China. And I've been talking for the last couple of weeks about what they're doing now in terms of our medical institutions, that the Chinese Communist Party has sent engineers to places like MD Anderson, our medical and science institutions, and they are stealing our data. They want to come up with a vaccine before us for COVID-19. They even want to cure cancer before the United States. They think that will show economic superiority. Now we learn that the FBI is issuing a warning as well, that Chinese hackers could be working to steal American research toward developing a COVID-19 vaccine. I've been talking with Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton about it, and here's what he told me last month. And he said there has little doubt that China is trying to obtain our intellectual property and take credit for that vaccine. How do you stop this, Congressman?
Well, Maria, we ought to be much more aggressive at the congressional level at holding China accountable. And you've been calling for this for a long time. There are a lot of us that have been calling for it. For whatever reason, Speaker Pelosi will not put a focus on holding China accountable. Even the coronavirus crisis task force, which I'm the lead Republican of, I've said many times this committee needs to also start focusing on holding China accountable, helping us bring our supply chain back. Of course, the main focus should be trying to help Americans get back to work and get back their livelihoods and help them recover through this. But we also have to go and hold China accountable. And like you said, I mean, look, there are some great American drug companies right now trying to find both therapies that can treat coronavirus, COVID-19, as well as a vaccine. And if China tries to steal that information, we also ought to be very aggressive at finding out if they're doing it, stopping them from doing it, and holding them accountable there as well. That's not going on in the House right now, which is very unfortunate. But I think the American people are fed up and want to see China held accountable, too.
I know there are about 60-plus bills right now in Congress. Do you think you're going to actually be able to move the needle on moving the supply chain, Congressman? Do you have any sense of companies today making a decision to move their supply chain out of China and do it somewhere else? I mean, I know that companies have gone to China for a long time because they have lax environmental rules and they have cheap labor. But is it just about the money now that we know so much more about the Communist Party's goals and behavior?
Right. There is a deeper cost to China having so much control of supply chain, especially as it relates to national security. You know, and if it's toys or certain things that we buy at department stores, that's one thing. But when it comes to our national security, whether it's drugs, like our generic drugs, over 90% are made in China. When you look at PPE, you know, when we were trying and struggling to get even American companies that operate in China to sell that PPE back to us, the Chinese Communist Party wasn't letting them send it out to America and other countries as well. There's a growing interest. It's not just us. There are a lot of other countries that need to be a part of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were cornering the market and buying up all of the PPE just as nurses and doctors needed it everywhere. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. We'll keep watching. Thanks so much for your efforts on that task force.
Always great to be with you. Thank you, Maria.